Agent. We welcome in Mississippi State baseball color analyst, World Series champ with the Marlins, All-American at Mississippi State pitcher, now with grit fitness and training, head of baseball operations on Lakeland Drive. Jay Powell joins us on 105.9 The Zone ESPN, coming off 20-minute sleep. Jay, thanks for hanging out with us because I know you drove all night to get back home.
Yeah, 20 minutes maybe give me a little bit too much credit, but no, we made it in, and good weekend of baseball though. It was a lot of fun out there, but hey, we couldn't finish it off.
All right, how impressed were you with? So walk me through the game yesterday. There's a lot of star power, a lot of MLB talent, a lot of high-level college baseball players on that field. It's rare you get a super regional feel in a non-conference game on a neutral field, and yet that's what we got yesterday. Walk me through the game and what you saw and what you liked and didn't like.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. From the beginning, there was a lot of people talking about it and that kind of stuff, and I was like, yeah, it's March 1st. We need to settle down a little bit. But you're exactly right. I mean, it was a lot of really, really good players, and that UCLA team is really talented. And you look at them, and they're veteran guys, and for the most part have been together at UCLA. They've got Gasparino that came in from Texas, but they're just, I'm telling you, man, that is a really good ball club. They are super talented, one of the better offenses in the country, great defensive team. I mean, they're really good, but it was just a really, really good ball game. It really was. I mean, from the beginning to the end, I mean, you had two teams that I think realized, hey, we're going to get a chance to play one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country, and we're going to bring it. And both of them did. I mean, they really did. Both those ball clubs on that field yesterday were really good teams. And it's just something you really don't get to see this time of year. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, it felt like a regional or super regional type ball game.
Talk about Duke Stone. His performance. I thought all in all he pitched really well, but you see more than I do. What'd you think?
Yeah, he did. I thought he did too. And look, like I said, that's a really good offense. I mean, UCLA 1 through 9 is really good. I thought he pitched well. He had that one inning where he kind of got out of his delivery a little bit and got popped around some. But for the most part, I thought Duke threw the ball really well. Fastball was good. I mean, he's still got another year of growing and maturing before he leaves there. And to me, Duke's got a tremendous upside. I mean, he's getting there, but he hadn't really scratched the surface. I mean, he was good other than maybe that one inning. I mean, he just left the ball up and Gasparino got him, but kept his composure and pitched well. Especially, like I said, facing that offense for really his second start of the year.
Jay Powell on the Out of Bounds show. Ben Davis pitched well at times. O'Connor mentioned he ran out of gas and they left him out there too long. I still think he's got insane talent. What'd you say? What'd you see, Jay?
He does, and I always tell pitchers you're going to get calls missed, and you got to pitch around it. Like you can't let an umpire just dictate what happens out there. And but he had some calls that didn't go his way that could have possibly changed some complexities of at bats. But he's very talented. And one thing, he had that big breaking curveball last year that was incredible, but it was just so inconsistent. And there was times where he couldn't land it, and when he couldn't land it, teams just set on that fastball. And one thing Justin's done, they've worked on a slider, and he's got a really good little tight slider now. And he's good. He's really good. I mean, he's especially for a guy who, he came over as a two-way guy, and he really hadn't pitched a whole lot last year. And all of a sudden, like I said, last year it started clicking. But boy, his stuff is incredible. He pitched well. He did though, and that's what I alluded to. I mean, he kind of ran out of juice. But boy, he's a big time back end the bullpen guy.
Let's go to McPherson, who I thought was awesome, and I think Arizona State is really good. And damn, Jay, they're 6'6" southpaw. That guy is really talented, as you were able to see. But McPherson was damn good. And then how about Garrick Fry coming off the bench, pinch hitting, and hitting a bomb. I really thought that was the spark they needed on Friday, Jay.
Yeah. Well, McPherson's, he's potentially a first rounder next year. I mean, he really is. I've loved that kid from day one. He stepped on campus when I started watching him pitch. The Carlson kid, or I believe that was his name, for Arizona State, we actually saw him in the Cape last year, and I was talking to Ace about him the day after. And he's talented. I mean, he's mid-90s fastball, hard slider. I mean, he's a potential first, second rounder coming up this year. He's tremendously talented, and the big difference I've seen so far this year, and it's the situational hitting. Now you take away that one inning last night where we had second and third with no outs, but they have been incredibly. They've been a lot better situational hitting with two strikes, with runners at third base with less than two outs. That part of it to me this year has been it's been a big time difference in last year, really. I mean, that situational hitting of that group has been really good. And Garrett Fry, they love him. He's a switch hitter, and like a lot of switch hitters, they have a stronger side, and his left side is obviously his stronger side. Kick and hit, man. And he's played himself into a pretty good little second baseman. So he's his bat's going to carry him, and especially from that left side, boy, he can hit it.
So this approach, I mean, O'Connor, talk about being around him and his no nonsense, and he's bottom line. I mean, he pulled one of his Virginia transfers after 3 games.
Yep.
And that kid can play, and I'm sure he loves him, but he is a bottom line. You're either producing, it's MLB like, and you lived that for a decade. Talk about this new approach from O'Connor and his staff, Jay.
Well, and I've had people ask me that, and I call it kind of intensely disciplined. It's just kind of a different vibe. The kids seem to really play into it. I've always said kids want a structure, and they want discipline. Like, they really do. Like, they want structure, and they want to know where they're headed. And that's what he brings to these guys. And you're right. I mean, every time we talk to him, though, if a guy struggles, he immediately says, hey, I still believe in this guy. And, and you can tell when he goes and changes pitchers, he doesn't ask for the ball, pat him on the back. I mean, he walks out there and he has a discussion with them. And I mean, it's, as a coach, I get it. He's constantly reinforcing, and players appreciate that. They really do. But you're right. I mean, it's, especially nowadays. I mean, honestly, it's kind of becoming a business, and he gets it. I mean, and the kids get it. They know, hey, if I want to play, I got to perform. And this is probably the most talented group. And I thought about this the other day. Is, I'm not going back to Will and Raphael's days or any of that, but just in the last 10 years, 15 years, I mean, the group that lost to UCLA, I thought was one of the most talented teams we've taken out there. They were really good. Hunter Renfroe, that group. 2019, I thought was more talented than the national championship team. But I think this group probably is as talented a group as we've taken out, in a season. Now, look, I'm not telling anybody right now to go make the reservations and get your shirts printed, but I have not seen a team that is this deep and has the options of matchups and depth, and the kids so far get it. And they're, when their numbers call, they're ready, and it's so far. I mean, they look the part, and this is a really talented group of, especially that position player side.
Jay Powell, Mississippi State Baseball on the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by Grit Fitness and Training Facility on Lakeland Drive behind Ergon and Mirror Lake. Reed Stallman on fire this weekend. What did you see, Jay?
I feel like Coach Polk. I'm starting to, we talk about a player coach says I had him in the Cape. Had Reed in the Cape, and just a great kid, first of all. Loved him. But you see him, especially with a wood bat, the kid has incredible power. Like, he has big time power. And he's another one. You know, he goes out there Friday night, didn't start. He didn't start, came off the bench after they switched pitchers. But Reed is an incredibly talented kid. Good defensive first baseman, but, I mean, he has some thunder in his hands, man. He really does. Like, he's got incredible power for a first baseman. And, I mean, what you saw yesterday is, I mean, potential for what he's the type of player he can be. I mean, has really worked on kind of, I don't want to say shorten his swing, but just his approach has gotten a lot better this year. And we saw bits and pieces of last year. You know, there was times where Reed Solomon was going to be really good. And the consistency of it, bats, I think, kind of hurt him. And this year, I think he's been a whole lot more consistent with his approach, and I think that's what you're seeing out of him. And a lot of that, and some of that's what O'Connor brings, and Kevin and those guys, they've done a good job with him.
Yeah. How impressed are you with Ryan Woodson? So O'Connor was talking about last week how he was hitting the baseball really well, and his exit velo is just hitting it right at people. And then all of a sudden the last week he's gotten going. And O'Connor also talked about how he didn't get a lot of reps at NC State. How impressed are you with what he did this past week?
Well, he and when I say he looks apart, I mean, he looks like a big-time college shortstop. I mean, good build, good body. You know, and Oak's right. I mean, he really came on in that regional. I mean, he really kind of blew up then and last year. And he's had some really good swings, and you kind of saw like you said, you saw it starting to click. You know, you saw him have some good at bats, and he's lining out. And boy, yesterday, or really all weekend, I mean, he killed the ball. And offensively, he was great this weekend. And you know, I think he's going to have a good year. I really do. I love his approach. He's athletic. I think he's going to have a good year.
Yeah, and he made some plays look routine that, as you know, Jay, were not routine over the weekend.
Right. And you know, some of it with somebody like Ryan Woodson, I think Aiden Teal too. Yeah. You know, they go through a fall at Mississippi State, but you know, there's a different animal up there. Right. I mean, it's a different animal. You know, I remember Butch Thompson told me one time if they win a national championship, they have a parade, and during the parade, they're going to start asking about how the football team's going to be. That ain't the case in Mississippi State.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's baseball. And I think some of that, you know, once the season started and they started seeing the atmosphere, took them a little bit to kind of get their feet underneath them. And I think you're starting to see that now. They're getting a little more comfortable.
Yeah, I think you're right. What about okay, you've been a part of the program for a long time. Obviously, you left and played MLB for a long time. You're back in color analyst. You're going up there and you're watching all that. How about that? I mean, this is a neutral site field, and you have more people than Texas A&M. How about that crowd and all the Mississippi State fans that were there all weekend, Jay?
Well, there's more excitement right now out there than there probably has been in a long time. I think it was it was kind of a reset, and I think there's a lot of people that's obviously excited about it. And look, you know how it is. I mean, Dallas is a huge alumni area for us.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of those people were Dallas folks. But yeah, they showed up. And I tell people all the time, if you want to know how Mississippi State baseball works, we had 13,000 for an alumni game in November. I mean, it's just crazy. But no, it was a good crowd, and a lot of them did travel. But I think probably, I would say, you know, over half probably were a lot of Dallas people that I met out there, and they're from Dallas, and you know, they've been looking forward to this, you know, since they announced it, and it's just a lot of fun for them.
I thought it was awesome. I thought Globe Life, you know, you're used to all this, going to all these steps, but I thought Globe Life Field was super cool, and to have that many Mississippi State people show up was unbelievable. Okay, let's talk about a quick turn. I mean, this is going to happen throughout the season, but it's still early, like you just referenced a few minutes ago. Talk about a quick turnaround to go down to Hattiesburg to one of the 3 or 4 hottest teams in the country, who's now ranked number 10, and you play there tomorrow night, Jay.
It's going to be a tough game. I mean, Southern Miss is, you know, and look, and I'm going to be honest. Look, my brother-in-law played football at Southern Miss. I grew up a Southern Miss fan. Southern's always kind of had a special place in my heart. Scott Berry was a great friend of mine. And when I say this, I don't mean disrespect, but that game's a lot bigger for Southern Miss than it is Mississippi State. Mississippi State is going to play RPI people all the time, every weekend. This is a huge game for Southern because they're going to play one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country. So it's a huge game for Southern Miss, and I mean it's going to be tough. And it's for State, it's you're coming off an emotional loss. You got a quick turnaround. Your pitching's a little thin. I mean, you just pitched 10 innings. And they're good. Southern's got a good ball club. So that part of it's going to be tough. And anytime you play them, especially down there, we had a lot of fun playing them. We used to play them a game down there, and then next year they come to Starkville. And of course you have a lot of friends that play for them and stuff like that. But it'll be a good atmosphere. Southern Miss got a good ball club, but I've always said that for Southern, that is a huge game. And it is for Mississippi State too, but the bearings of it is not nearly as great for Mississippi State.
No question.
As Southern Miss. And that's why, for them, that's a huge notch in the belt that they get.
All right, before we let you go, I get the sense that you feel like there's a lot more upside with this team. You mentioned the lineup, the stacked, and the guys on the bench that are trying to get ABs.
Right.
So two here. It sounds like you feel like they can get even better. And number 2, how concerned are you about the inexperience on the mound, especially in the back end?
What I've seen, a lot of those questions have been answered. I think I'll take talent over experience any day.
Absolutely.
And they're very talented. And, I feel like to me, you're starting to see, and this is what I think that coaching staff had hoped to see. You're starting to see some separation with some guys in certain spots. I feel like they're, catching is a spot that they still, Sean James has done a good job. Andrew Raymond's done a good job. We hadn't seen a lot of Maluski in a while, but that's a spot that you really want to have somebody. This is Jay's opinion. Take it and run with it. Platooning catchers are tough.
Yeah.
And I think that's a spot that they still got to kind of figure out. But they've got a chance to be really good. And I don't say that a lot, but just from the standpoint of how they built this team, they really do. If they can stay healthy, they've really got a 1A, 1B in the rotation.
Yeah.
And if Duke Stone or Charlie Foster or whoever's your number 3 on a Sunday, you're in really good shape. The bullpen's deep. You got a bunch of guys. Dane Burns is, to me, going to be a really important piece of this deal. I mean, you've got to find a lefty that you can match up with guys in the pen, and you really need more than one. So whether that ends up being Kirk or Maddox Miller, Jack Bauer's talent is incredible, but he's a young kid. That's a little tough. So, but the left-handed reliever and the catching, to me, are the spots as they go forward that they're going to have to kind of figure out more. And there's good options there. I mean, and look, Raymond's done a really good job.
He has.
James done a good job. And I think they just want to feel a little bit better about that going forward.
Yeah. And look, it's a extremely difficult position to play, as you know.
100%.
But that pass ball yesterday, you got to keep that in front of you. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, and he would tell you the same thing.
Okay.
It just went right through the wickets. If I remember right, I think it was a hard slider, and it's one of those that it really didn't break much. You're kind of anticipating a break, it looks like, and all of a sudden it just kind of stays straight and goes right through the wickets. So that's one you got to keep in front of you. And it happens. I mean, what we lose sight of sometimes, especially in the NIL days, are a lot of these guys are 19 years old. They're still technically amateurs. I mean, they're not pro guys.
Sure.
So they're going to make mistakes. They're going to let balls go through them. But you're 100% right. I mean, you got to keep that in front of you. It was a ball, and he would tell you the same thing. He's got to block that ball, but it just went right through the wickets.
Hey, Jay, that was great. We appreciate you. Let's do it again soon, okay?
Man, anytime. Appreciate you.
That was good. Jay Powell on the Out of Bounds Show, Mississippi State baseball color analyst. We're running the games on 105.9 The Zone ESPN when they start after 6 o'clock and when MSU basketball doesn't, there's some crossover, as y'all know, like it was on Saturday. But MSU baseball back on 105.9 The Zone ESPN where it needs to be. Super, super fired up about that. And you can hear Jay. He does a great job. All-American at Mississippi State as a pitcher. Decade in MLB, World Series champ. Was on the mound when the Florida Marlins won it in 1997. Love talking baseball with him. You can tell that he's high on this team. And they got players, they got dudes everywhere, and they're going to lose games. You play 56, you're going to lose a bunch of games. But this is a team that could touch 40 in the regular season. And if you can get there or anywhere around there, then y'all know you're cooking with grease. And so I can't wait to see what all shakes out here. And there'll be the ups and downs of the season. Ground rule double. Man, when it left the bat, I said ball game. And that thing hit. He hit a rocket. Ron Woodson hit an absolute missile to right center field. One hop, and it doesn't just clear the fence. It's way over the fence for a ground rule double. And then you got second and third with no out and couldn't get the fly ball you wanted to end the game and so on. But it was a hell of a 3-game series. I hope they play there. I'm jinxing this so bad. Yep. For the university, academically and athletically, I knew people would be there. I could not believe how many thousands of Mississippi State fans were there and how many successful people. I know about the petroleum engineering and the and other engineering and the oil energy gas and all those people going out in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and generating enormous net worth and wealth. But holy smokes, I did not know it'd be that many people at Globe Life Field. That was super cool. That interview was brought to you by Grit Fitness and Training Facility. Tour it today. Monthly memberships. Connor Griffin worked out there. Jake Mangum, JT Ginn. They've got indoor-outdoor turf. Jay Powell's the director of baseball operations at Grit Fitness and Training Facilities. Beautiful place in Flowood, behind Ergon and Mirror Lake. Lunch today brought to you by our friends at Taste Italian Kitchen. Taste Italian Kitchen in the Renaissance and Taste Italian Kitchen in Starkville. TasteItalianKitchen.com to make a reservation. Fabulous food, great atmosphere, 2 super cool bars in the Renaissance and in Starkville. We'll see you tomorrow.